I'm now delighted to invite on stage Paul Packer, the general partner of Globis Capital and former CEO of Globis Capital Acquisitions, which recently completed its merger with Forafric Limited, one of the leading processors of wheat in Morocco, leading to the first Moroccan company to be listed on a U.S. stock exchange. Paul Packer. Paul, great to have you with us.
Yaakov, thank you.
So you and Globis have been an investor for over 20 years, mostly investing in private companies in Israel and public companies around the world. I'm curious what brought you to, of all places, Morocco?
First of all, Yaakov, before...
Because as you can't tell, Paul's not Moroccan. Right.
Before we start, before I answer the question, first I just want to thank His Majesty King Mohammed VI for the hospitality and having us in the kingdom, Global Media Holdings, the Khaleej Times, and the Jerusalem Post. Yaakov, a very interesting question. You know, when we've been investing in Israel, public companies, startups for the last 15 plus years before it was really the in thing to do in Israel, when you're seeing every multinational venture capital firm opening up new offices, we try to be a little ahead of the times. We try to invest when people don't want to buy, and we try to be there a little way ahead of the times. Morocco, you know, if I had closed my eyes, and I was just hearing a few of these introductions, but if I closed my eyes and just some of the guests were here, went to go visit the Mohammed VI Polytechnic University yesterday, and I would hear that there's over the last 6 years over 500 engineers every year, another 300 up to another 300 engineers now graduating every year. The workforce in Morocco being from 25 up to 49 years old, 40% of their workforce is there. I would think, 1 minute, where am I sitting? Why are they doing over 200 plus venture capital deals coming out of the university here over the last few years? Am I sitting in Tel Aviv or am I sitting in Morocco? I'm sitting in Marrakesh, but I walk in the streets and I hear Hebrew. You know, and
lots of Hebrew.
Lots of Hebrew. And I think to myself, 1 minute, this is a country that's been around since 786, I believe, BC, 780 AD. And the first country to actually recognize America in 1786. So the ties between Morocco and the United States, it's not something new after the Abraham Accords. These are ties that have been there forever, but I believe just now are being recognized by the rest of the world. How many people in America know it's a 6-hour flight from JFK to land in Casablanca into the heart of Morocco? How many people know that there are investable companies here? And I was mentioning to you, Yaakov, the other day, Morocco's ready for Western capital.
So I'm curious on that point, what's the vision for Forafric, which is one of the leading wheat processing companies here?
Sure, Forafric, and again, Bank of Africa knows Forafric very well. The Forafric is the second largest wheat processor, from bringing the wheat to Morocco, buying the wheat in Morocco, processing flour, anything you've eaten probably in the Marrakesh region that has any flour on it, or semolina, that is our wheat, that was our flour, and I'm sure it tastes really good, couscous, the pasta, but it's two brands that are close to 100 years old, leading brands, Tria, Maimouna, that are not only feeding Morocco, but the platform here, and it's what we invest in our platforms, is Africa. Morocco is the gateway to Africa, and over the next 10 years, up to 2030, there are going to be over 2 billion people that Morocco is going to be able to reach. And, you know, platforms in Israel, software, technology is amazing, but be able to reach 2 billion people from Morocco with free trade agreements with over 100 different countries, it's something that we're very willing to bet on and invest in.
So on that note, and Khalid Nasser from Bank of Africa spoke about this also, how Morocco is a gateway to Africa. What are your thoughts on how this is a launching pad?
This is the launching pad. I mean, we're not only going to be in Morocco, we're now expanding in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, many of the other countries. We supply product to over 45 different African countries. There's, you know, in America, everyone's very big on low carbs. Not here. You know, nobody in Morocco is cutting back on carbs, and nobody in Africa is cutting back on wheat consumption, on flour consumption. It's a part of everybody's everyday diet. And not only that, but in terms of startups. I mean, we're seeing many, many, many different startups. We're seeing many mature companies that are ready to use Morocco as the platform for the gateway to Africa.
As someone who's a longtime veteran investor, though, in high tech, this is, I guess, what you would call low tech, right?
It is low tech.
Wheat
As low as
processing. So what are you, as you kind of spend a lot more time here in Morocco, what are your thoughts of the high tech industry? Are there ripe conditions? You mentioned all the engineers. Are you seeing an ecosystem here that can produce some of that innovation?
I'm seeing an ecosystem here that, whenever we invest in a company, we always look 2 steps ahead. What I'm already seeing here are companies that could actually integrate with our Israeli investments that we've made already, where we could bring the Israeli innovation to the young engineers here who could actually be a value add to the Israeli engineers who might be either pressed, but they're also, Israeli engineers are being gobbled up in Israel by all the US companies that are there. They don't realize there's the hidden gem here in Morocco, which are the young Moroccan engineers that could really be 1 + 1 equaling 4 for our investments.
And lastly, I'm curious what it's like doing business here, right? So people might say it's Morocco, it's hard, it's lots of bureaucracy, red tape. And I would assume that some of your friends on Wall Street would think that it's, as a prominent American Jew, it's strange that you're coming here, of all places, to do business. How do you explain that? What do you tell them?
I would say as an American Jew, I feel a lot safer walking the streets of Morocco than I would walking the streets of anywhere in New York right now or in America. Thanks to, this is something even, yes, the Abraham Accords, but even before the Abraham Accords, thanks to not only His Majesty King Mohammed VI's vision for tolerance, but not only vision for tolerance, but vision for human rights, women's rights here in Morocco. Anyone who asks me, are you scared? I said, scared in Morocco? I'm more scared to walk in America as a Jew than I am to walk the streets of Casablanca, Marrakesh, or any other city here in the kingdom. Not only are we welcomed, am I welcomed, but once they hear you're a Jew, we're not cousins, we're brothers. And that's something that I really have to thank King Mohammed VI for.
Okay, Paul, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, Paul Packer.